welcome to the Artist Behind the Music Canadian Country Series. Today we have Matt Martin joining us all the way from Ontario. Welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Crystal.
Yes, I was saying your background makes me feel just right at home. The mountains and it's my view, the Alberta view.
Yeah, it's inspiring being locked inside these days to have a nice big painting of mountains.
Right, I know. Whatever makes us inspired, we need to keep that around us. How has this year and this experience been for you with releasing new music to a virtual platform and just kind of doing things so different than a normal release might typically look like? How did you find the past year in releasing music?
You know, honestly, for me, it was pretty good. It was a good experience. Not that this whole year was a great experience. It was different. But it was good for me overall. As an independent artist, I'm getting my feet wet, and my latest EP, that's my first EP. And so I have typically been working and balancing the two, right? And so this year I had a lot of time to write and take my time with my songs. And so it was a good year to get more in touch with my music and my art, and even to play around with a new type of release strategy, as I was telling you earlier.
Absolutely. And I think it's so cool that, in the music industry, obviously it's been hit so hard not being able to play live music and tour and do the things that, we would standardly do to share music. But so many artists have been able to pivot in a new way and still get their music out and connect with fans and still do what they love to do, and just in a revised format. And I think that's something that's so cool about the music industry, is that it's full of creatives. So to watch everybody still keep doing what they love in a new way for them has been very inspiring for me to watch.
Yeah, luckily we have technology these days.
Oh, I know. I like go back 30 years. I don't know what we would have what we would have done.
I don't know.
Maybe write a lot more songs. I don't know.
It's about all you could do, I guess. Yeah.
Yeah. Dial-up internet just wouldn't do the trick.
No.
It just wouldn't do the trick. Let's chat a little bit about what got you started into music, your inspirations, and kind of your journey that led you to your first EP release.
Sure. That goes way back. I'm older than some people think I am. I'm 34 now. So music for me, if we go back to the beginning, I know before I actually really learned an instrument officially, I naturally was drawn to writing songs. I can remember some experiences, I don't know what age, but a very young age, writing songs. I played around on piano a little bit as a kid. We had a piano in our house. Grew up going to church, and so our family would sing a lot. So I had that musical foundation. But it wasn't until I was about 14, my dad got a guitar for our family for Christmas as like a family gift. Okay. Whoever wanted to pick it up and play could play it, right? And I took that up right away. And that summer, I ended up dropping baseball, which I had played for a long time, to take guitar lessons.
Cool.
And so pretty much age 14, beginning of high school is when I got into music. I was never that kid that would go home and learn how to like play all kinds of crazy riffs or anything like that. But I loved learning new songs, very much like a singer-songwriter style. And funny enough, I didn't love country music until I was about 19, 20, which is funny because I did grow up on a dairy farm.
Okay.
And for some reason, my family and friends around me through most of my life, my younger life, no one was really listening to country music. And so it wasn't until I moved to the city where I am now in Kitchener, I had a new group of friends that listened to a lot of country, and I was exposed to artists in a different way and fell in love with it. And as soon as that happened, everything flipped. And every time I sat down inspired to write a song, it came out as country. And I felt like a new way of getting back in touch with my roots, I think. Like I said, I grew up on a farm, but I was in the city at that point and in the tech space actually for work. And throughout my 20s, I basically played weddings, things like that, but it wasn't like my thing. It was something I wanted to do, but was probably afraid, especially with country. I remember feeling afraid to put myself out there with country, feeling like I was a little bit fake for the first little while because I had played rock, and for so long, country was this thing that I didn't relate to. So it took me a while to kind of get over that. And by the time a few years ago, I came to a point where I decided to set a goal to just write and record a few country songs in 1 year. And that was the beginning of my journey. As soon as I did that, it took all of the pressure off. It was just a project. It was something fun to do for me.
Yeah.
And then I started meeting people, and I started going to the award shows in Ontario. Like I said, I was at the CCMAs out in Calgary a couple of years ago. And things just picked up so quickly from there. Started traveling to Nashville to write, and released a few songs 2019, my first songs, and had a pretty good response there at radio, and Spotify supported me with one of their big country playlists. And so then last year was sort of my first real push, it felt like, to do a lot of writing and narrowing down to a group of songs that felt right for me and what my sound would be. And then my EP was born, which released in November.
I love that. And I find it so interesting just how you kind of touched on feeling fake or inauthentic to singing country music, because maybe that's not something that you were brought up on, or something that, you know, it was constantly in your blood. But I think country music, or music just in general, is an expression. And I think sometimes we put way too much pressure on artists or ourselves to be fit into a box of a genre, or think, you know, oh, because I didn't listen to Garth Brooks every day growing up, I can't be a country singer, you know? And I'm hearing more and more stories of artists that maybe weren't brought up on country music, but are singing country music now. And it's an expression. And I think, you know, wherever you're at any stage of life, I mean, I got into country music later in life as well. And I always sang pop music. And now, you know, country music has just really taken off for me. And it feels the most authentic to who I am today. And I think tapping into who are you today, and how can you showcase that with the world, is really important.
Totally. And for me, it's been recognizing that evolves and that changes, just like we evolve and change. And so for sure, my earlier country inspirations were like Dierks Bentley and Keith Urban, Rascal Flatts, just some random albums I sort of picked up to explore. Kenny Chesney. And, you know, that was back around like 04, 05.
Yeah.
So much later, 15 years later, whatever, coming back and trying to figure out what my sound is, that's what feels more natural, something like that. But yet country's evolved so much, and the stuff I'm starting to listen to more now is, you know, more pop influenced, obviously. And so it's been a journey to just kind of go with what feels right and be okay with that, and not have it need to be right or wrong. It is just an artistic expression.
Yes. And I think that's really important for new artists to hear too, just because it's not, you don't have to be in a box of a genre and a label. It's just be who you are and let that shine bright. And if, you know, the radio stations don't like that song, that's okay. It doesn't mean you're a bad artist. It just means it's not where it fits today, and that's okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's just, that's a message I always love to share, is just, it doesn't matter what you sound like or what you're drawn to. Just do you do what feels right for you.
Yeah,
Did you have any tools of kind of, you know, working through that fear of just allowing yourself to be authentic to the sound that you wanted to create?
Tools. I mean, it's funny, throughout my career, I've done a lot of personal development stuff. So I mean, just having that self-awareness was helpful, but it was still a journey. And so I'd say it is just reminding yourself, when you get to that point, when I got to that point this past year of having written so many songs and trying to figure out how to narrow it down to an EP, and recognizing I was feeling overwhelmed, and I was listening to voices of this person I talked to and this person I talked to about what they thought my sound could be, or what's going to really be accepted or appreciated. And eventually just going, okay, those are all great things to hear and consider. But at the end of the day, I need to just let that noise go away and listen to myself and listen to the songs that are drawing me in. And it fell together so quickly when I did that. When I finally realized, okay, like 2-3 years from now, what am I going to be proud in this moment? What can I picture being proud to play and wanting to still play?
So true.
So yeah, it drew me to the songs I think that resonated with me the most then.
Yeah, that's a great tool to use. How many songs did you have to pick from, and how did you, I guess, really narrow that down to pick however many you chose?
Sure. I had some older songs, and then I wrote quite a bit from late 2019 till say April 2020, and there's probably around 35, 40 songs
Yeah,
to pick from, and I narrowed it down to 6.
that's a lot, right? Like that's a
Yeah.
lot of songs
I
to.
have a lot more, and that was my own songs. I've recorded, and a lot of people will record other people's songs too that writers have sitting there for you to choose from.
Yeah,
Um, so that was a smaller batch than what it could have been for sure, but still very difficult.
it is. Yeah, I always find that a challenge is what are the songs that are the best to release right now, and because there are so many great songs out there and great pitches out there, and it's like just choosing the message you want to share with the world.
Totally.
Yeah, that's awesome. What's your favorite part about being in the music industry now?
Favorite part? Well, I mean, I haven't been able to do much performing or anything like that. So yeah, I guess it really is. It's still that creative process for me, and getting to put something out there and see how people respond to it, see what resonates with people. And that's what was, I think, fun for me with this EP, having a broad range of songs that kind of had a thread for me that fit together, and just seeing how people appreciated different songs. So instead of it being just one single that I released and people like it or don't like it, there was something for everyone. And I realized I appreciated every song in that album too. And so it's been a more enjoyable process for me after the fact, since I've released it, to just see how those songs kind of rise up and stick out to different people.
That's cool. I like that. And I think we kind of live in a world where a lot of people are just releasing singles as opposed to EPs or albums. So it's just interesting to hear that how important releasing an EP is, a collection of songs, because it just provides so much more opportunity to connect with so many different type of people.
Yeah, and it's tough because it costs money to produce an album. And for artists who, especially independents or younger artists, you're not making money. So
Right.
you're working and investing, or you're hoping to get something like streaming isn't a great way to pay you back.
No.
Typically, it goes really big. So there's different ways that you can get support, obviously, but it was worth it for me to do it as an artist.
Yeah, and you can see that you've had some great success with it, and you're still able to keep promoting songs from it, which is also really cool. That it's not just one song and done. It's like you get to kind of live out the journey for a little while.
Totally. Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that. Who are your biggest influences right now? What are you listening to?
Oh, I've definitely, sadly, I say sadly, because I used to listen to albums. I feel bad that there's no one really. But some of the newer stuff I'm listening to, I still like a bunch of Ryan Hurd's stuff.
Yeah, great.
This would be stuff over the last couple of years that I still listen to. Ryan Hurd, Matt Stell.
Yeah.
Kenny Chesney is still stuck around for me, so there's little songs that pop up from him.
Do you find when you're listening to songs that you like, you listen to them on repeat, or artists that you really like, or do you find you're listening to playlists maybe that people curate on Spotify of just a bunch of random tunes?
It's a bit of both.
Yeah.
That's why I guess it is that way for me, because of course, half the time I'll just go onto one of the major country playlists and hit play, hit shuffle.
Yeah.
But then I do create my own playlists from time to time too. So depending what I'm feeling, I know the vibe of a certain playlist and which artists are on there, but it's usually a pretty big mix of artists, right?
Yeah.
It's really changed that way, which is crazy. In some ways, that's why I say I feel bad saying that. In some ways I regret it, because I'm less in touch with the artists.
Yeah.
And know what it's like to be an artist and what it's like to create the music and have more meaning behind the story behind the songs and the journey of that artist. And I feel less connected. So that's a challenge.
It's interesting you say that, because I remember, when an album would come out, how excited you'd be to like run to HMV and buy the album and go home and listen to it front to back, look at the pamphlet in there, read the lyrics, and it was just such more of an experience or an event. And I feel like that's really shifted and changed into a world of either just singles or, play, click, but you don't really do the research.
Yeah, that's, I was telling you earlier, my earlier influences, and it was really funny how I first really dug into country. Of course, I had friends influencing me, but there was the place I was working at the time used to do this thing at Christmas where they would take everybody to the mall on a bus and give them a certain amount of cash, and they just spend it in an hour, let's say, and you had to bring receipts back to prove that you spent it. Anything you didn't spend, you had to give money back. And I remember like rushing around. At the very end, I had like $30-$40 left, whatever it was, and saw HMV. So I went into HMV and I was just getting introduced to country. So I saw a bunch of albums, and I literally just by chance picked up Dierks Bentley, Keith Urban, and Rascal Flatts. Nice. And that's how I was exposed, was having those 3 albums in my car and listening to them over and over again. And the songs that later in the album became my favorite songs, you know, those hidden ones at the end that they're not the singles that get added to playlists these days.
Totally. Totally. I feel like we're missing out on so much good music because you really have to dig to find it. And there's so much music out there now that you really gotta, you know, keep clicking deep into the playlist to find the good stuff.
Yeah. It seems like there's people like Taylor Swift who have continued to draw people into their full album, or Morgan Wallen with his smashing success with his double album release.
For sure.
You know, that for some reason for those artists pulls people in. They're that invested in the artist.
Yeah.
It's become more rare.
It definitely has. It's interesting. So on that note, I would love to hear you play if you're ready.
Cool. For it. Yeah, let's do it.
Just like that, we have a live show.
Pretend there's a huge crowd out there.
That's right, I feel it.
So 2 songs, you said, 2 originals?
Yeah.
I think I'm going to start with this one. I'll sing Passenger Seat first. So this was a single from the album that I released back in July, I think it was. And had great success from that on streaming. So it's on Spotify and Apple Music. Actually was my first time being picked up by Apple Music playlist. It's just a fun summer song. I always go back to them because I had a 4-door Jeep for a number of years. So I have this attachment to the idea of the top off, road trips in the summer kind of thing. And this song reminds me of that. It's called Passenger Seat, and you might hear a little bit of harmonizing in the background.
Ooh, a little surprise. I like it.
Got her all shined up. She's ready to roll. A full tank of gas. Let's turn up the radio. Nothing feels better than a summer drive with the shades on, snap back open skies. So come on, girl, let's go. I wanna take a drive down that California coast and wind through them southern back roads with your hands out the window, rolling in the breeze. Oh, baby, hop on up in that passenger seat. Oh, baby, hop on up in that passenger seat. Rev it on up. Push that pedal on down. Crossing dotted lines. Chasing new ground. I wanna take a drive down that California coast and wind through them southern back roads with your hands out the window, rolling in the breeze. Oh, baby, hop on up in that passenger seat. Oh, baby, hop on up in that passenger seat. Nothing feels better than a summer drive with the shades on, snap back open skies. I wanna take a drive down that California coast
harmonies, well done on those. I feel like I have a Wizard of Oz harmony queen there beside you.
You wouldn't be wrong.
That's fantastic. So good. Great song though. I was really feeling summer vibes and looking forward to what's to come this year for sure.
Exactly. Yeah, we can all look forward to that.
Yeah, no
Especially
kidding.
the lockdown, being stuck inside on these gray skied cold days.
Right? There you go. You got a new song right there.
Maybe
Always
I'll write
writing.
songs for this.
What other
All
song
right,
you have for us?
The last song I'm going to do is my latest single that I released to radio off my EP. It's called I Want to Be There.
Excellent.
And I wrote this song back in, I guess, February, right before the whole initial lockdown hit when COVID became a thing.
Yeah.
Luckily, in February, I was able to make it down to Nashville and write a bunch of songs, and came back, and then everything shut down. And a couple songs came out of that. So
Good.
this is one of them. Every time I see you, I know I'm gonna have to leave you. I can't handle that when you're not where I'm at. Side by side, you're perfect. I can hear our heartbeats working on overdrive. It's a better life. No matter how far apart we are, I wanna be right where you are. Under every single sunset, under every single sky. When you wake up in the morning, when you fall asleep at night, when your whole world is smiling, when there's tears in your eyes. Anytime, any place, anywhere, I wanna be there. I wanna be there. Everything you go through, I wanna go through it too, just to build you up, to be your rock. I know this world gets crazy, gets in between you and me, baby, but I'll never stop, 'cause you're all I want. Under every single sunset, under every single sky. When you wake up in the morning, when you fall asleep at night, when your whole world is smiling, when there's tears in your eyes. Anytime, any place, anywhere, I wanna be there. I wanna be there. Any hour, any day, any chance, any way, anytime, any place, anywhere. Under every single sunset, under every single sky. When you wake up in the morning, when you fall asleep at night. Under every single sunset, under every single sky. When you wake up in the morning, when you fall asleep at night, when your whole world is smiling, when there's tears in your eyes. Anytime, any place, anywhere, I wanna be there. I wanna be there.
Very nice. I love that song too. What's the story behind that song?
So that song, like I said, I was in Nashville, and I was in a new relationship, and my girlfriend, also an artist, was traveling at the time and had been on the road for a few weeks, and then I had been in Nashville for about a week and a half, and it was just a new experience to deal with a long distance relationship like that. And so, yeah, I was just in that kind of a space. The one day I woke up going into a write. Fairly new to co-writing still at the time, and so some days, I think most days I would go in without a specific agenda or request for a song idea. But that day I knew exactly what I wanted to write about. I had the I Want to Be There kind of idea and a little tune in my head. And it was the biggest write I had done. It was with 3 other writers in the room. So there's 4 of us in the room, all 3 I hadn't written with before. And it just came together beautifully. I loved it right off the bat. One of the guys was able to do a little demo, which is always nice to bring it to life a bit. And so it was always a favorite for me. I was quite confident it would land on the album.
Oh, that's awesome. It's a great song. And it's neat too how some songs just flow out so easily and quickly, and others sometimes take a few sessions to go back and finish. But I love it when a song just kind of effortlessly flows.
Yeah, and when it has personal meaning is always nice too as an artist. Sometimes we're just writing about concepts, right?
Yeah.
But to have an actual story tie into it is good.
Absolutely. I love that. So what does the rest of the year look like for you?
The rest of the year, I guess we're at the beginning of the year.
I know it's a weird time, so maybe we don't have
we lose track of time. It's January, I guess. So that's a big, actually moving. So I'm in a condo right now that got sold by my landlord, and so I'll be moving in March. I guess March.
Well, that's 1st. Exciting.
So that's keeping me busy. But other than that, it's mostly like everything's so up in the air. So, I'd love to go back to Nashville to do some more writing, but right now that's all up in the air. So just writing when I can. I do lots of Zoom writes with different people, Canada, the US. That's my main priority right now, is just writing more music and working towards the next single, the next album.
Awesome. Well, that's great. Well, you've got great tunes, and I look forward to hearing more from you. It's exciting listening to new albums and projects and watching artists evolve. So I am proud of what you've put out there and look forward to hearing more from you.
Thanks a lot, Crystal. This was fun.
Yeah, I always love to end these sessions with the question, if you had one message to share with the world, what would it be?
Ooh.
A loaded question.
Well, I guess it kind of ties into what we were saying earlier, which is it's the classic follow your heart and just get started. When I shared my story with the music and my fears of getting started with music alone, but also country, it was just setting a goal, not making it this big thing like, oh, am I going to be a star? It's not a bad thing to dream about that, of course.
Yeah.
But if that's too overwhelming and scary, but you're passionate and you're interested, just choose a smaller goal that's a step towards that and get started, because what you're going to become is going to unfold in front of you through your experiences. So just get started.
Well, just start. I like that. That's great. Great advice to share with people. And I think it's really important for people to remember that they don't have to be, winning Grammys tomorrow. You can just start with a song and maybe no one hears it, and that's okay.
That's right. The world is full of opinions.
That's for sure. That's awesome, Matt. Well, thanks again so much for joining me, and I look forward to chatting with you again soon.
Yeah, thanks for having me.